I used to struggle with making content. I didn't know what titles to use, I didn't know what to post, I didn't know who my target audience was. But then I implemented these 7 steps and it's changed the way I make content and how I approach my target audience. And I'm just going to run through these 7 steps that I've learned, and I hope it helps you. So the first major switch that I did was going from how to how I. From this is the best way to these are my favorite ways, and so on. You want to talk about what you've done, not what others should do. What you like, not this is the best. You want to talk about your own personal experiences. And when you do talk about your own experience, no one can question you. This makes you bulletproof. For example, I make my oatmeal this way versus you should make your oatmeal this way. Or how I built my 7-figure agency versus how to build a 7-figure agency. And finally, my favorite way to generate leads for my business versus this is the best way to generate leads for your business. It's a subtle little change, but it makes such a big difference. Remember, when you're creating content, you're reaching strangers. If you tell them what to do, they're going to find it as arrogant. So making this minor change where you talk about your own experience, it helps avoid all of that. The second thing is we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. You are crazy if you think 100% of your audience listens to you 100% of the time. Imagine I posted my previous podcast, which I posted last week, on my Instagram story for every single day. And I asked all of my audience if they saw my post about the video and if they saw the actual video. 1 in 5 will say that they didn't even see the post or even know about the podcast. So all you need to do is just keep repeating yourself. You are going to get bored of your content before your whole audience sees it. The next thing is you want to narrow the focus of your content. If you have a small local business, it's probably not best to post general business content. Well, not to begin with anyway. And here's the reason. If you are a local business, there are more established companies out there and more people will listen to them. You do not have the credibility just yet. But what you can do is narrow your topics to what you do and where you do it. So for example, you might be a plumber in a certain town. You could become the plumber of your region or your town. And over time, you can expand the location of your services to a bigger company which people will rely on. And that's when you can start posting the general business content. You go from one pool to another, expanding each time, going from a puddle to a pond to a lake and then to the ocean where you have the whole market. The next lesson I learned is creating content for salespeople. Some content will perform well and it will get more people interested in buying your stuff. And that is a content that helps your sales team. When you do have that piece of content where it's performed really well, make sure to mark it down and label it with the problem it solved and the benefit it provides. Then your sales team can send it before or after a sales call and it will help people decide to whether or not if they want to buy or not. But because the content performs so well, there is a higher chance of the sale going through and people wanting to buy your service. And this works especially well if the content that you provide resolves specific problems people constantly face. So now my 5th lesson, free content retains paying customers. How a customer gets value from you matters less than where they got it from. Imagine a person pays for your product and then consumes free content. If your free content is valuable, they will like you more and stay loyal to your business for longer. On the other hand, if they consume your free content and they hate it, they will like your paid product less. And here's something that you might not know. Someone who buys your stuff is more likely to consume your free content. And this is why it's so important to make your free content good. Your customers will include it in how they calculate their ROI for their purchase. Now on to the next. People don't have shorter attention spans. They have higher standards. And I really want to emphasize this. There is no such thing as too long, only too boring. Think about all the streaming platforms and how long people watch the streamers. They stream for hours every single day and people tune in for all that amount of time. So you thinking that a short content video is making people's attention span shorter is wrong. It just means some of the content they provide is boring and not interesting to people. So you just have to find the right thing where it's appropriate and interesting and people will just stay on your video and stay on your content for longer. Our biology hasn't changed, just the circumstances we have. People just have more rewarding stuff to choose from. So make good content, good stuff that people do like and reap the rewards rather than just whinging and whining about people having short attention spans. And my last point, which might catch you off guard, but avoid pre-scheduling your posts. Usually the posts I post manually tend to perform better than the ones that are scheduled. And here's why. When you manually post, you know that within seconds, you will be rewarded or punished for your content. Because of the feedback you receive straight away, you try harder to make it better and perform better. When I personally schedule posts, there's no pressure on me if it performs well or not, because I've created the content, it's out there and it's going to be posted next week, but there is no pressure on me to see if it performs well because then it's just a done job. So that's why posting manually might perform better because you're always tweaking till you get the right perfect balance of everything. You want to get it right and you even might have more ideas up until the publishing point. If you schedule, you're going to forget about it. But if you post manually, there's always going to be something that you can improve and something that you can change. And that minor change might be the thing that helps you boost your content. So those were the 7 lessons I've learned from making content. If this helped you in any way, please subscribe. I post weekly videos trying to give you guys as much as possible, things that I've learned myself. So like I said, I hope this helped and I'll see you next week.